Welcome in a new series of reasoning tricks. So in this video we will discuss about a new topic, that is dice. So as dice question is very important, it comes in your reasoning examination, right? So dice question, in order to solve dice question in a very easy method, you must know these reasoning tricks. So if you haven't subscribe our channel Rankingpedia Education. And if you haven't installed our application Rankingpedia Education, install our application from Google Play Store. In order to access free study material, you have to just visit study material section, and for upcoming lecture notes that will be uploaded in YT class notes section, so you can access that free lecture notes from YT class notes. Now we will start with standard dice. What is actually a standard dice means? So it is a dice in which sum of digits on opposite faces is equals to 7. Now by this what I mean, suppose this is a dice, over here it is 3, let us suppose here it is 3 and here it is 2. Now if I talk about what comes in the opposite face of 1, so in order to find that, as I have said, the sum of two opposite face must be equal to 7. So now in order to evaluate the number, the opposite face of 1, we must have the sum equals to 7. So suppose over here it is 1, and in this case what number should become over here that makes a sum equals to 7? So that will be 6, right? So the 6 is opposite face of 1. Why? Because 1 plus 6 is equals to 7, and in standard dice case this is a dice in which sum of digit on opposite face is equals to 7. Now let's take another example. Suppose you have to find the opposite face of number 2. So what number will come, which number will come that makes a sum equals to 7? So that number will be your 5, right? So 5, in this case 5 is a opposite face of 2. So this was all about standard dice. Now coming on to the non-standard dice. Non-standard dice. What is actually a non-standard dice? This is a dice which does not follow the rule of standard dice. Now we will just recall what was the rule of standard dice. So the rule was of standard dice was that the opposite face sum must be equal to 7. So non-standard dice does not follow the rule of standard dice. That means in non-standard dice case, the opposite face of the two dice, that is, will be not equals to 7. For example, if I take 2, over here suppose 3, and over here it is 5. So the opposite side of 2, that must be equals to 5 in order to make the sum equals to 7. That was the case we have discussed in standard dice. In non-standard dice case, for this we must have a one more dice over here in order to compare with that, and according to certain rules we have to find what will be the opposite of 2, or what will be the opposite of 3, or what will be the opposite of 5. No, so according to it, in order to solve this problem, we must know minimum two position of dice. Only from one position, that this position, this diagram, we cannot evaluate any of the answer. That means we cannot evaluate the two opposite sides of any number. So we must have a two diagram in order to evaluate the opposite sides of any of the faces. So for that, we will discuss a few equation. So let us suppose these two are two dice. Suppose over here it is 6, over here it is 2, and over here it is 4. Here on the upper side it is 4, front side it is 5, and corner side that is 3. So in order to solve this question, now if we want to find the opposite of 4, how will you evaluate in the case of non-standard dice? So it is a non-standard dice. First I will write over here that this question is of non-standard dice. So how will you evaluate the opposite face of the slide of the top face, that is 4? What will be the opposite of 4? How will you evaluate? So if you find out the missing number in two, on comparing the two dice, what you will see that the missing number, some numbers are missing over here. So our number that is missing, that is, I think that will be equals, that is 1, because 1 is not present in both the two dice. So now if we just rotate these both two dice clockwise, what we will get? Suppose this is A dice and this is B dice. So from A what we will get? 4, 2, 6, and from B what we will get? 4, 3, 5. So 4 is common in between, right? In both the two dice. So the number which is not present in both A and B, that is 1. So the opposite of 4, that will be 1, because 1 is not present in both the dice, and on just comparing the two dice, that is A and B, 1 is not being found on any of the two cases, on any of the two dice. So now I will talk about if what is the opposite of 3. So in right side we have of A block we have 2, but in right side of B we have 3. So the opposite of, on comparing these numbers, opposite of 2 is 3, and opposite of 6 is 5, because when we have rotated clockwise, right, then we have compared. 4 was common, that was present in the top over here, and 6 was in the front, and when we have rotated B in clockwise direction, then we have get 5 in front. So the opposite of 6 is 5, and the opposite of 2 was 3. So the number which is not present, that is 1. So that means no, that 1 is present in the bottom of the dice. So that means opposite of 4 is 1. So in this way, comparing two dice, we can easily solve non-standard dice question that will come in your examination.